Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Suikoden. Since last time, all I did was get all the old books. So now we're here to talk to Hugo and turn them into him. This will probably take a decent amount of time, so I want to look at all of these and read all of them. Let's see how long this takes. Okay, so here we get, finally, a little bit of backstory in the 27 True Runes. And I think that the font on this is really, really bad, but hey, there you go. In the beginning, there was darkness. Darkness lived for eons in a rift in time. Suffering in solitude for so long, darkness finally dropped a tear. Two brothers were born of tear, sword, and shield. Sword said he could do anything, cut anything to pieces. Shield, sword could protect anything, and so the two went to battle. The battle lasted 7 days and 7 nights. Sword cut apart shield, and shield broke sword into pieces. Fragments of sword fell and became the sky. Fragments of the shield fell and became the earth. Sparks in the battle became the stars. 27 jewels that adorned sword and shield became the 27 true runes, and the world went into motion. Interesting that they put this in this game, because this is a lot to do with Suikoden too. But here we go. So I guess that's how they made the 27 true runes. It doesn't really explain that much to me, but whatever. Ancient teachings. At certain times, the runes can give men immense powers. The power they provide is magic. Each rune provides 4 magical powers, but the great ancient magician Crowley, whom we know, found a method of surpassing teachings. If 2 souls are united, 2 runes are united, and their ultimate power is unleashed. A power greater than the sum of the parts is generated. The union of souls means that 2 rune masters apply their magic almost at the same time. The union refers to the harmony. In other words, fire and earth, earth and wind, wind and water, water and lightning, lightning and fire are harmonious. Ultimate power means the release of maximum runic magic. When 3 of these powers are combined, the greatest of magical powers is unleashed. I don't know what that has to do with this game, but hey, there we go. Strategy of war. War begins with the understanding of the enemy's methods. A soldier is stronger than an arrow is stronger than magic. Magic is stronger than a soldier. See, this is basically just saying, hey, this is rock, paper, scissors. If you hadn't figured out how to use your troops effectively in those major battles, then here you go. As a result, knowing the enemy's methods are a natural advantage. To know an enemy's hand, it is necessary to utilize ninja power. An enemy's method always follows this pattern. Knowing the pattern is a shortcut to victory. The enemy is without a magician, attack in full force. Betrayal is most effective when you are few and the enemy is many. When the enemy is reduced to a few, use your arrows. When numbers are so many, soldiers and arrows are effective. When you are few in number, magic is effective. The only way to increase your number is to recruit. It's just basically telling you about major battles. Nothing we don't know. So this is cool. Knights of the Dragon's Den. Joshua Levenheit, commander of the Knights of the Dragon's Den, keeps the Dragon Rune. From a very early age, the children of the Dragon Knights are brought up in the Palace of the Dragon Knights. Once a year, they participate in the bonding ritual. Only those children who succeed in bonding with a dragon become a Dragon Knight. If a child fails to bond before the age of 6, he will never become a Dragon Knight. The bond between a dragon and his knight is strong. A dragon lives far longer than a human, but should a Dragon Knight die, his dragon out of sorrow will take its own life. On the other hand, if a dragon dies first, its master loses his rights and privileges and must leave the Knights of the Dragon's Den. Okay, talking about Futch, basically. Craftsman's profiles. Mace. Master blacksmith. Of stubborn temperament, but very kind to his apprentices. Tesla. Scrivener of Antei. Competent. Gen. Simple-minded shipbuilder of Taean. Templeton. Mapmaker. Perfectionist who appears whenever changes occur. This can't be that old a book, because Templeton doesn't seem that old. Kimberly. Ostensibly a stamp maker. She is, in fact... what? Sergei, unsuccessful inventor, said to be in Kaku. Antonio, excellent cook living in Seika. This is just all hints for characters whom you might or might not have gotten. Lester, cook whose specialty is stews, presently working in Moravia Castle. Okay, that's actually not much of a hint, because he's not actually in Moravia Castle. Hugo, librarian of Huan Temple. We have to have him in order to read this book. Cassius, balladeer, deeply in love with Milich, to whom she sings. Okay, so it is a she. I did not know that. Jabba, arrogant but exceptional appraiser. Feels he can appraise anything. Kamadal, popular alchemist of Taean. Cool. All people we know. Blacklist. The following list compiled by the Imperial Guard describes suspicious characters who may have evil intent against the Empire. Clive. Appears to be on the trail of somebody with the intention of extracting revenge. Occasionally sighted at an inn in Recon. That's the only real hint to tell you that Clive is there. Otherwise, he's really hard to find. Like, he sometimes isn't there. When they say occasionally sighted, they're not kidding. I got lucky. When I showed up in Recon, he was immediately there. Not always the case. Kreutz, follower of the former Emperor Gale Rugner, long incognito but recently discovered to be hiding out with the Knights of the Dragon's Den. Anji, pirate of Lake Turan, long-standing friend of Taiho. These are all hints, basically, just to tell you, hey, this is where you might be able to find these people, or this is how you might recruit them. Ruby, Strayoff, Fumar, masterless ninja, hides out with the Knights of the Dragon's Den. Fusulu, warrior who wears a tiger's mask. Oh, so it's a tiger mask. always repays his debts and obligations. Peshmerga seems to be looking for Uber, the Black Knight, in the service of Windy. Got it. Okay, so this is all just prices on antiques. So we have a bonsai, but we don't have a knight statue. We do have a peeing boy. We have a lot of these things. We never managed to find a knight statue or any of these ridiculous things. I've never seen any of these other than graffiti and flower painting. The goddess statue, nature painting, pretty cool. The Calica tragedy. This is the thing I've referred to multiple times in our playthrough, but here we finally get to learn a little bit about it. Border disputes between the Empire and the city-state have been going on for many years. The so-called Calica incident took place against this tense, ugly background. Taking advantage of civil strife within the Empire, the city-state overran the northern part of the Empire all the way to Calica, which they occupied. After pacifying the Empire, Barbarossa's forces headed to confront the invaders. As the city-state's forces began to retreat, the Imperial army entered Calica. What they found was a burnt-out city whose residents wiped out. Leon let his forces know the appalling devastation of Calica. Despite their exhaustion after the long march north, the forces were infuriated by the news and with renewed vigor succeeded in forcing back the city-state army. So this is, as I'd like to call, the revisionist history of what actually happened. So it's clear that this isn't really what happened because of the way our characters have discussed this event. When Matthew met Leon, he was mentioning how he could never forgive him. Humphrey joined the rebel army, I should say the Liberation Army, because of this event. So, what we can infer from this is that Leon, who was the strategist at the time, who was the Imperial strategist, I should say, basically wiped out Calica as a pretense to allow for the Empire to attack the city-state of Joustin. And we find out a little bit more about this later, but that's basically why the Calica incident is such a big deal, because a lot of our characters know the truth. They know that Leon actually was the one who wiped out Calica. They know the Empire was basically killing its own citizens in order to get a pretense for war, and they know that it's not okay. And so that's one of the main reasons I think that Leon being on our team in this game is pretty nuts. That's pretty cool, but yeah, I mean, that's why it was such a big deal for Matthew, who wasn't way into that stuff. So, now let's continue with the main story. Loikon, please speak to Master Matthew. Sure. Now we get to have this really cool music. Okay, so Matthew is wanting to attack Gregminster. I won't let Matthew go to battle. So, yeah, he's hurt. So, at this point, you pretty much have one or two choices. If you wait and see, this will allow you to train a little bit. I think what we should do is we should march to the capital first, and I'll tell you why. Right now, if you go to talk to Sanchez, you can still change your party member with Sanchez, by the way. If you go to talk to Sanchez, you are able to change out 4 of your members, but you have to keep Victor in the party. If you go to the capital now, we will get another scene, and we'll get a few more scenes, and then we will have one final chance to train before we go to Gregminster. And you need to do that because if you go directly to Gregminster, we will have more forced party members, and we won't be able to train all the characters we want. And we do want to train, and I'll explain why as soon as we get to it. So let's march to the capital. 20,000 remains in the capital. They are desperate and dangerous. We should be okay, though. We have a lot of men. Yeah. So we're raising all the troops. Okay, cool. Everybody who's mandatory in the game is now in the room. Awesome. Let us begin. Warriors of the Liberation Army, the time has come. The end is near for the cruel Imperial regime. Think of your friends, think of your families, and fight for them. The ground quakes with the anger of the people. Their cries echo in the heavens. Now is the time for this to end, for this to end. Obviously. And the scene we now see is only if we got all 108 stars of destiny. Or I should say 107, because Grumio is dead. If we don't get that, we will get a slightly different scene. And I will, after finishing the game and showing off the finale, I will make a bonus episode with all of that. But for now, let's watch this. Okay. What happened to her? The clan of the gate were powerful people, but because of their power they were massacred. Wendy and I managed to escape using the power of the rune of the gate. Okay. Rune of the gate is in fact 2 runes, the front and back runes, also called the entrance and exit runes. My sister carries the front and I the back. Their powers are connected. When did she try to kill her? Okay. That makes sense. No, okay, but you're warping around a lot. Alright. Yes, so this is where the scene changes. Stars that wander freely across the skies, and you have all assembled in this single spot. Together you will be victorious. But you're mistaken. We're missing one. Yeah. Some of them don't know him, but okay. There he is! Alright. So Leknaat has the power apparently to revive the dead. Oh, this is great. Yay, we get Gremio. There's still some laundry left to do and a new stew. Yeah, well, we got Sarah, Gremio. You weren't there for that, but we got somebody to take your place. We got a stew chef and we got a laundry woman. It's like all great. Yay, we got Gremio. I love this guy. Oh. Yeah, so apparently the 108 star stuff is pretty powerful. Only once, okay. So apparently she can only revive the dead one time. That's still pretty good. I don't know why you'd choose Gremio. I mean, I love Gremio. Don't get me wrong, guys. I love Gremio, but I mean, you could revive anybody from the dead, right? With the power of her rune and the 108 star. I mean, you could revive George Washington, Genghis Khan. I mean, anybody. Come on. I would be like Genghis Khan all day, but what do I know? If we had Genghis Khan in our army, that'd be pretty freaking cool. I'd be like, Genghis Khan, you're the leader. You conquered half the world. Like, you go, man. You're like the most awesome guy ever. Yep. Victory! You only had one choice there. Yeah. Even Humphrey. Yeah. Cool. So, we got Gremio back as a result. Now we get to see everybody doing stuff. Yep. Sidonia never says much. CD-based load times. What's up, man? Alright, Kobold. We got Kobolds on our team? Yeah. I hope they're a lot stronger than the ones we had on the world map, because those guys were not very hard. Okay. Now that we're back in the war room, this is the last chance that we'll have to have what I call an unencumbered party. As soon as we talk to Matthew and do the next major battle, which obviously there will be another major battle, it's not a surprise, we will have what I call an encumbered party, where we'll have multiple pick characters that we absolutely have to have, other than just Mamba. So I suggest using this time to train, and the rest of this video I'm just going to explain whom I think is very, very smart to train, more so than others. I'm also going to show off in the next video every Unite attack in the game, because I think that is interesting to see. And of course, there are a couple that require more than 3 characters. So those characters you'll never be able to see their Unite attack if you go the Matthew route. So, Sanchez is saying to pretend everything is normal. Okay. So, the reason I suggest you train some characters is because they will appear in Suikoden 2. And unlike every other freaking game like this, those characters will maintain their, some amount of stats, right? And what I mean by that is, the higher level they are, the more levels they'll gain once you transfer the data. So, it'll give you an advantage in Suikoden 2, and it isn't very difficult to train these characters up to like level 50. I think that level 50 or like level 55 or something like that is pretty reasonable, and it doesn't take all that long to do, especially if you basically just keep Kai in the party and you use Mamba and Kai to just annihilate everybody. Once you do that, it's pretty simple to raise up characters' levels. In addition, it's fun to just mess around with a lot of the characters in the game. Like, they all have interesting little weapons and quirks and stats and so forth. But I do think it's important to focus primarily on the characters who will be returning in Suikoden 2. And again, like, just because you get a very clear motive for that. So I'm going to go over each of the characters who I am going to train to that level off screen between this video and the next. And I'm going to show you guys that the next time. So the first character that will be returning in Suikoden 2 is Victor. Now, Victor is a character that you don't need to worry about. Don't bother training him any farther than he is. He's obviously level 55. He's fine. The reason is because he is one of the 2 mandatory members for the final dungeon. We will have to train him regardless. So it doesn't matter. Don't worry about training Victor right away. Next is Taiho. Taiho is a little bit behind, so we do want to train him. He is a character that we get pretty early in Suikoden 2, so it's good to train him up. We'll get him a few extra levels. He'll be a little bit more powerful. It'll help him out. Next one is Valeria. Now, Valeria is actually a optional character in Suikoden 2. You have either a choice of her or a different character. I almost always never choose Valeria in Suikoden 2 because I think that the other character gives more benefits. But I want to train her up just because maybe I'll choose her this next time. I haven't decided. So training her up, not very difficult. She's level 41. She's a powerful character. Easy to do. Lorelei is another character that is in Suikoden 2. She's very low level. If I were to send her over to Suikoden 2, she wouldn't get much of a bonus. I think that I want to give her a bonus. Another thing that's important to do is to get all these characters weapons to level 16, and the reason for that is that they will give you more of a bonus in their weapon level in Suikoden 2. In Suikoden 2, money is harder to get than Suikoden 1. Like, it's not possible to get infinite money as easily, at least as early. It is possible late in the game, but at the beginning, you will actually be struggling for money for a lot of it. So getting those characters like Victor and so forth, their weapons to level 16 is very useful. Another character, Stallion. Stallion will be returning in Suikoden 2. Just get him leveled up. He's very easy and fun to train because you can run around really quickly. Humphrey is another character that'll be returning in Suikoden 2. He's actually pretty much set. I don't know if I need to train him much more. I will be giving him better armor later. We will be getting one piece of armor in the final dungeon, and I'm going to give that to Humphrey because for the very reason that you cannot swap out his armor in Suikoden 2 for whatever reason, but if you give him armor in this game, it will transfer over to Suikoden 2. I don't think that's true for any other character but Humphrey. I might be wrong on this. I think that a couple of the characters you can transfer their armor, but I know Humphrey does for sure. I know that Victor for sure does not. So some characters do and some do not. So there's that. Sheena is another character. Sheena's really, really good in Suikoden 2. I really recommend raising Sheena's level up in Suikoden 1 to give him a little bit of an advantage. One of the best characters in Suikoden 2. Pretty good in this game, not bad, but really good in Suikoden 2. Get his level up. Hicks, another character. Raise his level up. He's pretty standard, not that hard. He's already level 47, not that difficult. Who else? Meg, another character who appears in Suikoden 2. Meg is level 27. I leveled her up a little bit just for fun. I also was using her because her luck stat is crazy. I only use her just to get item drops. That's pretty much what she's used for. If you want to get any items, you should grind with them with Meg in your party because her luck stat is really high. So you'll have a higher chance of getting these items. So just bear that in mind. Luke, another character. Luke is fine. He's also level. He's up in my game. He's fine. That was one of the main reasons I used him over Crowley. I think Crowley is a little bit superior of a character in terms of magic and so forth. And plus, like, lore-wise, he's more interesting, at least in this game. But Luke is in Suikoden 2, and I like him a lot in Suikoden 2 is another thing. He's one of the best characters in that game for quite some time. So getting his level up is a no-brainer. Kage, no. He does appear in Suikoden 2, but you can't get him. Sometimes I think to myself, oh yeah, Clive. Clive is another character who I really recommend training up in this game. He is very, very good in Suikoden 2, much more useful than he is in this game. I think he's another one of those characters I use a lot. So get him up. I think you should get him to I like to use him in the final dungeon just because I will get those characters up a little bit higher. I pretty much always, in the final dungeon, stock up my party with characters who will be in Suikoden 2. So usually my party goes something like, I ditch Milich. Unfortunately, I love Milich, but I don't use him. I use Mamba, Victor, Flick, who are the mandatory members, and then I use Clive, who's my long-range member, Luke, and then Tengar or somebody like her, who is also in Suikoden 2. So obviously Flick, we're gonna get his level up in the final dungeon. Don't worry about it for now. Now Sonya and Kasim, I like them. Look at their stats; they're really, really good. I mean, Sonya's stats are amazing. Her stats are so good. Let's look at Milich, right? I mean, his stats are pretty comparable to hers. He has a better magic stat, etc., but he's also a few levels higher. She's really, really powerful. Too bad she's only in it for one dungeon. It sucks, but what can you do? It's too bad. Kasim is similar. Again, Milich is clearly better than these characters. I don't know. I don't know what they were doing. So Futch isn't another character who's in Suikoden 2. We're almost done. There's only a couple more. But Futch is in dire need of some leveling up, and we get him pretty, midway through the game. So, this one is not as important as the others, I think. But I like to level him up just because it'll put him a little bit higher, a little bit further ahead when you get him in the game. But, yeah, and it doesn't take that long. You just use Moravia Castle to grind. I wouldn't use, really it's the only place we can go, I guess. But yeah, Moravia Castle's pretty easy. Kasumi is another character who will be returning in Suikoden 2. The deal with her is she is the other option for Valeria, so I tend to use her rather than Valeria, so definitely train her up. She's level 53 already, so she's actually pretty good, well off. I don't know if I'll train her up any more than this, but whatever. That's not a huge deal. And I believe we only have a couple more. Yeah, Peshmerga is also going to be in Suikoden 2. Just like this game, I don't use Peshmerga all that much, and he's already level 49, which is pretty high, so I don't know if I'll really use him that much. I'll probably train up to level 52 or 55 or something like that. I'll use, when I'm training up other characters who are pretty high level, I probably will use Peshmerga. And finally, Tengar. Tengar I'm gonna probably use in the final dungeon, because I like her. I've shown you why. I think her magic stats are really good, her other stats are all really good, so she's really, really good. She's one of the better characters in the game. So, yeah, that's really it for that. I'm going to do a lot of this sort of stuff off screen. I'll probably come back and just quickly glance through whom I've trained up. I also like to train up other characters who, for example, Sergei and Sansuke, who I've never used, they're poor guys, But, in fact, I don't think I've ever really used these characters, so I don't know really how good they are. They could be pretty darn good. I mean, I'll see. I'll give you guys a final rundown of the characters, whom I think are the best characters in the game at the end here, probably at the beginning of next episode. But I hope you guys have found these last couple videos. They're a little bit different from my earlier ones, just because I was going through a lot of endgame stuff and there wasn't really much story. But I hope you find them enjoyable and informative. And I'll see you guys next time when we finally go into the last area. So we will do a major battle, and we will do that sort of thing. So I will see you guys then.